Well, hi, welcome to this edition of Hardtac, where I cover news and information that nobody else will touch, or at least in the way that I do it. This particular episode is a in-depth feature into Adventures with Purpose with Jared Lysick's current situation of child rape. Now, once again, this is a situation where, don't forget, it is innocent till proven guilty. That is what America gives us in our court systems, or at least they're supposed to. I'm going to cover all the mass resignations that had happened approximately a month and a half ago. We're going to have video clips of past employees explaining why they left, giving very specific reasons. I'm also going to point out the fact that everybody resigned. Now, let me give you an example here, a factual example. I have a friend recently that was alleged to have raped one of his friend's children. It was asked of me shortly after, what do you think? Did he do it? Without a question, I said no. On God's green earth, he would never do such a thing. Ever. But upon all the employees, supposed volunteers of Adventures with Purpose, and we'll get into that, everybody resigned. That kind of tells you something, doesn't it? We're also going to talk about the beloved Doug Bishop. Did a previous video, you can go back to that. All the comments of, oh, leave Doug Bishop alone. He has nothing to do with this. Doug Bishop might not have anything to do with the child, but Doug Bishop was the lapdog of Jared Lysick. He did what Lysick wanted. He said what Lysick wanted on video, on Reddit, in emails, and on texts. Doug Bishop threw people underneath the bus for Jared and AWP. AWP was an incredible idea, but the fact of the matter is, when it came to Jared Lysick, it was all about the money. He did very, very, very questionable tactics to get money. His heart was not in finding people's loved ones who have passed on in a watery grave. It was only about the money. Also, it is illegal to do what he was doing. He was acting as a private detective agency in every 50 states in the United States. Illegal for him to be doing what he was doing. And if you ever notice on several videos, when the sheriff's department shows up, they're not particularly delighted with AWP. So stick around. So let's move on. First video clip that I'm bringing you is going to be Sam the Adventure Man. And you might have seen some of these before, but what I have done is taken all of the clips and brought them down into get to the point kind of clips. So let's take a look at this first clip with Sam the Adventure Man and his son.
We announce that I will no longer be working with Adventures with Purpose. You guys have come over to my channel, donated to me to help, pay my way. But, due to some things, I will no longer be continuing to work with them.
I've really struggled how to even go about this. I wrestled in my mind back and forth that the public needs to know, saying, let us know what's going on, what happened, why did you leave? What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And for me to remain silent would definitely be wrong. And I can't have that on my conscience.
I couldn't go on with my conscience knowing that, I had the power to say something and I didn't. So I had a lot of people reach out to me and apologize. As many of you guys know, over a year ago, I stepped away from Adventures with Purpose. It was a very tough time for me. I loved helping the people, but I just hated what was going on behind the scenes. Dan would also like to let the world know that he was unaware also. This last year had been extremely hard for me. I experienced a lot of hate from, the mob that came after me. And with that being said, I was able to see it, who the character much sooner than you guys were. Those of you guys who have been, reaching out to me, apologizing, saying that you're sorry. Hey, sorry, Sam, we doubted you. Hey, we treated you bad, or we crucified you. I'm not answering to anybody, and I do not, under any circumstances, condone sexual assault of any kind. That doesn't happen here. It doesn't fly. I'm really upset about it, to be honest with you.
So I wanted to join AWP and go with you guys because I thought it sounded like a fun thing. But Jared was in the front seat and he was driving. So I decided I was going to go up and talk to him and pick his brain a little bit because he was an interesting person to me. Like, why wouldn't he be? He has a YouTube channel. He has all this stuff. So I go and I start to talk to him. And one question in particular, and what I remember asking was, I asked him why he got into YouTube. And now most people, when they get into YouTube, they say, oh, it's because I like something, or, oh, it's because I was doing something already and thought it'd be fun to share it with an audience. But he told me that he got into it for money. And I was like, what? And he's like, well, I knew it was profitable. So that was kind of the first red flag. He was really speaking about them as if they weren't humans or people. And I recall him saying, he said it in a joking tone, but it didn't come off as a joke to me. He said that if people didn't give his money to him, they would just be wasting it anyways.
On something else.
Yeah, on something else. Two little old ladies came up to us and they asked Jared, they're like, hey, do you have money for gas? And these ladies, I don't like to judge anyone based off appearance solely, but these old ladies appear to be modest in nature. And he said, yes, we need gas money. And they handed him $50. And I also want to know, at this point, he had bragged to me a little about some of the money he was making. It was like a red flag. So he takes the $50 or whatever that they give him, and he goes and he stuffs it in the door of the RV, the pocket, and it has the most loose money I'd ever seen in my life, like thousands of dollars. I'd never seen that much loose money. So at that point, my alarm's starting to go off. But so we're out on the case, and I remember we're out looking for the person. And we go to a spot where we're looking, and it clearly, anybody who had been working the case would know there's no chance of the person being here. It was for show. We have a show to make. So I was like, why are we here? And I was told, oh, well, we have a show to make. And immediately I got sick to my stomach.
Yeah, I actually would sometimes say, so Jared, is this a show day or a actual search day? What are we doing today?
There. And I was told, it's hard for me to even talk about, but the old man was crying and I didn't film. I did not want to go, because I was helping filming. I did not want to go up close to him. And I turned the camera away because he was crying and I didn't want anything to do with it. And then I got accosted for missing what was called the money shot.
So there we go. Very interesting clip. Both him and his son are spelling out what the situation was in 2021 and in 2022. The emotions that these two have gone through. If you want to help them out, head over to their channels, give them a watch, adds a couple bucks to their pockets to help them out. This is still fresh here, so give them a hand if you can. Sam talks about being mobbed, for whom and which, when you're involved with YouTube, there are a lot of keyboard idiots out there, some very stupid humans. My goodness, it is just amazing how gullible and stupid some people really are. He was mobbed basically everywhere that, oh, geez, you know, how can you do this with AWP? Well, I tell you, we as Americans have just gotten numbed down by our government, who is just corrupt. We've just gotten used to it. That's the way I look at it. Next on the list, let's go see what Nick has to say.
Hello, I'm Nick Wren. It's Wednesday, November 9th. Just so everyone knows, as of yesterday, I've formally resigned from my former place of employment, working for the search team. After hearing these allegations and listening to the information that's out there and what's available, I'm not okay with this. This is not right, and I don't want to be a part of it. And quite frankly, if these allegations are true, I hope justice gets served.
Moving forward, I would like everyone to know that I am no longer a part of Adventures with Purpose. I have left the company because of personal reasons for moral obligation.
Stepped away. I've resigned from AWP due to moral obligations, due to, a lack of proper leadership, and due to, just needing to do what's right.
So there you have it, 3 right in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Can you imagine you walking into work and finding out this situation? How awful for these individuals to have to go through this. Whether or not, whatever comes from this. But I tell you one thing, sheriff's departments do not bring charges of this kind unless they have got some real solid proof. Some of it's going to be hard. It's 30 years. So is there something there solid? Is there something there that's not? Here's a quick one from Chaos Divers, and you can just see the absolute, how he is torn, the emotions. Don't forget, we're going to get to Doug here.
This is very hard for me to say this, guys. While Chaos Divers will stay true to the followers and stay steadfast to our journey of helping and bringing home lost loved ones, we do not condone the alleged actions of others. From that, I want to apologize, but this has to be done. With what we were made aware of, this was way back before we even knew each other. This was years and years ago. Everybody was blindsided with this. Nobody knew.
Emotional roller coaster, hey, huh? Well, the next clip that we have coming up is a family member. It is the sister. Now, I want you to head into this short clip with some hesitation. You know, keep a hand on the handbrake, all right? This sounds like it happened, but I want you to pay very close attention to the way she talks about this situation, what happened with Jared and her. She was part of this the whole way through. And I think she's just jumping on the bandwagon to do some bashing. Nonetheless, let's take a listen.
Grabbing them by handfuls and just kind of putting them on the racks in certain locations. And I was like, I thought that you were taking me shopping. And he goes, well, we are. He goes, let me walk you around and show you what's going on. And he showed me where all the cameras were, where all the motion sensors were, the things that we needed to stay away from, because we were actually going to put our stuff in places that wouldn't set off the motion sensors and where we wouldn't be on camera late at night, because we were actually going to stay the night there and we were going to leave with everything in the middle of the night, which is what we did. That was the first big crime that I committed with Jared. And, and the second one, I guess, would be grand theft auto. That was another big one. The stock market thing that he claims that he's so innocent about, he used to actually pay me to punch in all the codes on the computer, making it look like he had a bunch of followers, doing a bunch of hits, which would make the other people think that all of these people were buying into the stock market, which they weren't, because it was me getting paid an extra $5 an hour on my computer as a single parent at home when I wasn't working my other job.
See what I'm getting at? I'm not on board that she wants to play the innocent sister. I believe that she was in this along with him. I think there's some sibling bashing going on here. The situation being that he has enjoyed success, whether some of it could have been illegal success. I'm not buying that she's innocent here. Definitely jumping on the bandwagon to get herself out there. If you listened very closely, she was in this the whole way. Oh, I got paid an extra $5 an hour. Well, wait a minute. I know if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I've got this illegal activity going, and you know darn sure that she knew what was going on. Somebody came up to me and said, hey, I've got this situation and I want you to do this and I'm going to pay you this to do it. Oh, no, absolutely not. A lot of these people, both with AWP and her, at any time could have said, oh, this isn't right. I'm walking away. But they didn't. They didn't. That brings me back to Doug. Before I get into my opinion with Doug, let's take a look-see first. Before the keyboard warriors hit down going, oh, poor Doug, leave him alone. Then I'll make my point.
So to make a long story short, I noticed a lot of things behind the scenes that I was not comfortable with. I didn't discuss these with anybody. Now that nobody's riding this train of Jared's great, Jared's good, we all knew and left for other reasons. In the past, Jared had kicked Jacob out of hanging out with Adventures with Purpose for reasons that were basically just created in his own head, in Jared's own head. And he kind of took the route of, I'm king. I'm going to delete you from your career on YouTube. Let me expand a little bit on Doug. So I don't want anybody to put Doug into the spectrum of disliking him because of association with Jared. Doug 100% is against everything that's been going on right now. I can tell you that. I can promise you that. Doug has made mistakes, and that's severing ties and friendships and publicly bashing good people to gain seats in the house of Jared. Now that this came out, I would suggest, Doug, that you get back into the towing business. Because if you try to make a YouTube career with this, I hope you do well to feed your family. But reality is reality. The majority of YouTubers are going to see you associated with a pedophile or with an alleged pedophile, which is going to hinder your success. You need every advantage in YouTube that you can possibly get to start a channel, not negatives, especially one this large, to continue. I 100% that the name AWP will be a distant memory in 10 years. If anybody tries to carry that torch, it'll burn out on you and sting your hand. So I think that carrying this torch, getting your own channel, do it. If you don't find success in 2 years, don't spend any more of your money. A success, as I mean, is an income, not success of finding people. I've been in the Coast Guard for a very long time, and I know that you're headstrong, and I know you, dude, you could battle the biggest of battles. I know you can, but let me tell you this as a former Coast Guard guy. I've seen you on videos dive to 100 feet. with a non-instructor, and that non-instructor was Jared. I know very little about diving. If I was there, I would have stopped it from you diving 100 feet. Do not carry a YouTube channel to dive where you're the lead. Please, let's hire somebody else to be the lead. If you're going to take over this channel or take over a channel to do this, put somebody else in that main diver seat. Don't take it, because you're going to kill yourself and probably hurt other people. And I don't want to see that happen.
Everybody wants to know how I feel right now. And being real is all you can be. That's all you got in this world is what you stand for and how you come up. Yeah, you know, always follow the code.
He's had a shady past before.
And being real is all you can be. That's all you got in this world. My future is just going to go with being real. And I come from a real rough background. And I've changed my life. I've become a really good man. And I've always followed the code.
He's had a shady past before.
And that code has been violated.
People keep giving you a pass, but yet here you are. You manipulated your fan base right in the beginning of your comment, and then you followed up with a blatant, provable lie that has now been exposed. People back then maybe didn't know you were lying, but we all know you are lying now. But let's go forward. Jared has always been transparent about that with everyone, including myself, from day one. I have been a true volunteer of AWP for coming up on 3 years, and I have become absolutely amazed by the selflessness of Jared through this entire journey. Pause! Oh man, your lies are all just coming to the light. So you've been a volunteer for 3 years, Doug. How do you feed your kids, Doug? How? Explain to a logical person that's not a complete idiot with their head up your ass and their fingers in your beard how you were a volunteer for 3 years, yet you managed to pay for the house that you were in when you made your little video, and you managed to put food on the table for your kids. You don't do that doing volunteer work, Doug. You have been paid, and you know you are being paid. What volunteer has to sign all of these contracts without making a single dollar? So he lied right there once again. We now all know that there was never no such thing of you being a true volunteer. There was so much money rolling in. So another blatant lie by Doug. Do you think it's a coincidence that Sam's kid, and like 40 other people can all tell you that Jared was horrible, and that Jared was a selfish person if anything, that he was a horrible person that took money from the poor even though he didn't need it? Yet here we have Doug. Oh, Jared's been selfless through this entire journey. So you want me to believe that Doug is the only person that was blinded to what was going on with Jared? That Jared's true colors, you know, they shined brightly to everyone but Doug. And now we see how full of shit Doug was back then.
Well, the last one was a bit brash. I'll give you that. Nonetheless, the truth. That's something that Doug wrote. First clip in this last series, that first gentleman used to be involved with law enforcement. None of these people that you've just viewed had any reason to lie whatsoever, except for the sister. Not quite sure. I voiced my idea on that already, but basically with this Doug situation, and the reason why I'm scoping in here is basically he's the last one to leave. He's the last one to take down the tent, load her up, and get on out of there. He was infatuated with Jared, the lapdog to Jared. He bashed people for Jared. Now, in his video, which I just made some very short clips to make a point here, this code. In my background, before I have the businesses that I have, but even still through today, I have dealt with law enforcement, I have dealt with the FBI, and there is a segment of the population when they have found themselves in prison or jail, that speak a certain way, act a certain way, and bless him for taking that corner and getting himself out of that type of life. I do have documents, but the time of the year that it is and everything that AWP and Doug has gone through, I thought about it and said, it's a bad idea. Probably could have been the #1 video on YouTube, #1 video on Rumble. I've elected not to go down this road. Fact is he talks a certain way, he acts a certain way, and that type of individual is easily led by people who impress them. One of the things that bothers me is that if you do watch the videos and you listen to him dive, like the first gentleman in the clip said, that don't go out diving. You don't have any experience. And if you listen to the videos, his breathing is all wrong. A lot of stuff that he does is all wrong. And yes, I have had several classes on how to dive. So I'm no expert, but I do know what the hell I'm talking about. Jumping now into the conclusion of the fact of illegal detectives. This is a situation where everybody who is out there doing what AWP is doing and has done actually is illegal. Is anybody going to stomp down and say, oh, you can't be doing this, it is illegal? More than likely not. But, as I have said, if you watch some of these videos, when the sheriff's departments show up, they are not tickled pink of what AWP has done. You just can't go out and decide, hey, I'm going to go look for people in this situation or any other situation and go investigate it and go diving and not have the credentials, not have the licensing. You just don't do that. You can get in trouble. The first time any of these dive companies run into a situation where they have caused some kind of legal issue with trying to do what they do with the family, they'll end up getting sued. That'll be the end of their YouTube channel. It'll be basically the end of their life. I don't care if you got an LLC, if you're incorporated, whatever the case may be. They will come after you with a vengeance. And it will look very bad to a jury of 12. So, I will catch you on the next one. Go ahead, if you'd like to subscribe, head down and you'll get to see more news and information just like this. Till the next time, see you later.